Good morning. I just woke up and I look like shit, but it doesn't matter because I always look like shit in these videos, so never mind. I haven't posted in a while because there really wasn't. Well, like I mentioned, we were in inventory at work and that was pretty draining. So I was a little busy. And when I got home from work, I was a little tired. Uh, but I watched a video this morning that compelled me to respond. Um, and I have something to say to Jason Nash. Who, this whole thing between Jason Nash and Trisha Paytas, I've watched the whole thing play out. I only started watching Trisha Paytas because of Peter Mon, who is wonderful, and I love him. And a side note, he has a lot of influence. That's a whole other video, not about him specifically, but about the role of older people in our society. It was one of the reasons why I wanted to start making these videos, because I have a real issue with ageism in America right now. I have a huge issue with it because I'm old, um, and so I'm seeing it. And I came up in a time when, I was surrounded by really old people, like plus 70 old people. And they were revered, they were respected, they were listened to, for one thing. You listened to what they said and you respected their opinions. It wasn't a throwaway thing like it is today. Um, that's a whole other video. But Peter Mon just like he called it. He called it with the Trisha Jason thing that they might get back together. God, I hope not. Jason, no. Are you listening? No. Please, for the love of God. I'm just a few years older than you. I've been engaged 7 times. I know it's hard to believe looking at me now, but yeah. So I have a lot of experience in relationship failure. Okay? A lot. And I've been where Trisha is. I had my daughter when I was 28. I'd already done all the young person things. I'd gone to college. I'd backpacked through Europe. I'd sown my wild oats, etc., etc. So, it was the next progression in life. And then when she was just about 2, her father died. And I set about, because I was one of the few kids, because I grew up in a green school bus, as I've mentioned before. See, this is the reason why I was going to start all these videos with an overview of my life so that I could say things like this without having to backtrack and explain why I'm saying them. And here we go. I was raised by 2 farm kids, and they stayed together until I graduated high school. Evidently, they had made some kind of pact to do that. And my best friend and I, because we stopped in New Orleans. We lived in New Orleans for a while because of health reasons. We had to leave. We came to Tucson. So from the 2nd grade on, I was with the same group of kids, like all the way through college. Like, it was such a schizophrenic way to grow up because it was, the first part of it was completely untethered, completely vagabond, in a green school bus, hippie time, all of that. But, and then after that, it was almost super suburban. I wasn't in a house. I was in a bus and then a trailer. So I really envied the people who had an actual house. God, it's so easy to get distracted. I'm talking to Jason Nash. I'm trying to explain that My girlfriend and I, my best friend, we were one of the few in our class whose parents, our biological parents, were still together. This was the 80s. And come graduation time, it was her and I, and no one else's parents were together. I always maintained that if I had a child, which, I always said that I didn't want a child, life had a different idea. That there was no way I was going to raise this child alone. I wound up doing just that, and trying not to the entire time. Hence the 7 engagements. Because I didn't want to raise my daughter alone. Kids need 2 parents. This is a fact. Sociological, psychological, child psychology studies have proven, just look at the prisons. Look at those statistics. It's not an arguable thing. Kids need 2 parents. And having grown up with 2 parents, yeah, I wanted to give that to my daughter. I didn't. But I said that to say this. I know where Trisha's coming from. I have a very strong feeling for where she's coming from. And when you said she'd do anything just to be with you, there's really no way for you to understand at 45 with a marriage under your belt and 2 kids to raise and their mother's fully in their life, financially secure to whatever degree. I mean, you're not going to get kicked out of your house next month. There's really no way. And being a man, that's another video. Being a man, there's no way for you to fully understand where she's coming from there. And you said you'd watched her videos, but did you really listen? She said point blank that she wants kids and to get married, and she should. Yeah, she'd be a great mom. If you get back together with her, are you fully prepared to have more children? Because she wants more than one. Are you fully prepared to marry her, move out of the house you're in with your roommates, commit yourself to a fully adult relationship with her, and raising those kids? Because if there's any hesitation in you from doing that, you need to say to her, I love you. You're a beautiful person. In other circumstances, I think we could be together. But I'm not going to stand in the way of you achieving your adult life. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'll keep saying it and keep saying it until people actually hear it. There's another aspect to this. We learn more from our mistakes than we do our successes. It is incredibly important for you not to meddle in her mistakes. You have learned what you've learned in life from your mistakes. Don't take that away from her. It's like meddling in someone's belief system when they say they don't believe in God. I'm like, okay. That's fine. Don't believe in God. It might be really vital to your spiritual development for you to not believe in God. And you'll never get to where you need to be unless you do, or don't, rather, believe in God. If I try and change someone, and I'm glad you admitted it, in the guise of making them better and stronger, you're stealing their mistakes from them. You're stealing their self-actualization. You're taking your self-actualization and your personal growth and imposing it on them in a different timeline. You can't do that. They can't get there from here. She hasn't had kids. She hasn't had a marriage. She hasn't done all the things you've done. How on God's green earth is she supposed to be where you are? Or I am, or anyone else. It's like saying to a toddler, what do you mean you don't understand 401k? What? They don't know what a banana is. What? Don't do that to people. You know the old adage, if you love something, let it go? You're going to have to show some great big grown-up pants love for Trisha and walk away. Here's why I made this video. The words that I'm saying right now are vastly different from the words I would say 10 years ago. Because 10 years ago, I was still in there's nothing greater than a relationship and raising your kids. There's, if you're in a marriage, you should do anything to save it. Absolutely anything. Set aside your ego. Bend till you break. Those were the thoughts I was having 10 years ago. That was 10 years ago. I was in a different place. I was a different person. Normally, I would say do anything you have to do to save this relationship. Do anything you have to do. I'm not saying that today. If you guys get back together, that would be a beautiful thing. The one thing the world will never have enough of is love. There's all kinds of love. It's not just romantic love, remember, though. You can love Trisha up one side and down the other. But the more you actually love her, I think, and the more that you really look at your love for her, and the more selfless you are with that love, the more you might find yourself stepping back. Because I really don't, and here I am messing with maybe your mistakes. Maybe you need to make this mistake. Where do we stop with that? Right? Giant mess. But I think the more that you step back and the more selflessly you love Trisha, the more you'll realize, I need to be her friend. I need to be the best friend she's ever had. I need to be a real friend. Like her best friend. And help her grow. But not stand in her way. I think if you get back together with her, and if you really did watch those videos, she's really stressed about that timeline, and rightly so. I get where she's coming from. I don't judge her in that at all. What did she say, 7 to 9 years to get married and have kids? The clock is ticking for her. So she can't afford another couple of years dilly-dallying around with you. She really can't. And she's very committed to this idea of getting married and having kids. So she should do that. And if you're not going to do that with her, you need to step aside. You need to be the adult, because you are. You are the adult. You're 45. I'm 50. We are the adults. And I know, because I'm there, you look at a 30-year-old and you think, kid, because you're not the person you were when you were 30. Not even close. Not even close. And you know what's going to happen in the next 15 years because you've lived through it. Do you really see yourself chasing around toddlers in the next couple of years? Do you see yourself leaving the house with your roommates and moving in with her and marrying her? Because if you don't yank her chain anymore. Please. Don't do it, especially if you love her. If you love her, that would be the worst thing you could do. Like I said, I'm all about relationships working, and I'm all about love. And it would be a beautiful thing if this worked between the two of you. It would be a beautiful thing. But she's being confrontational to you because in the back of her mind, she knows she's wasting time with you. And so that's why she's short with you. That's why she's picking you apart. That's why she's confrontational. Because she's frustrated. What are you doing, dude? Make up your mind. Don't waste my time. I don't have enough to waste anymore. I'm not 22. I'm 30. And I have some things I want to do. Are you on board or are you not? You're old enough to be able to make those decisions fairly quickly. For you to be dragging your feet at this point is really selfish. I gotta call it. So stop doing it. Please. She's a beautiful girl. And she learned a lot in the relationship with you. Bless her heart. And thank you for showing her that. But don't waste any more of her time. Really get honest with yourself. And don't just be with her because you don't want to be alone. There's plenty of people in the world to be with. And there's nothing wrong with being alone anyway, so that's a whole other thing. Like, all right, that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, time to go to work. Bye, guys.